After 9 years, Star Trek just entered a scary new era. Star Trek Starfleet Academy has wrapped filming Season 2, and Star Trek enters a scary new era of uncertainty. On Tuesday, February 24, 2026, Star Trek Starfleet Academy completed filming of the second of 2 seasons ordered by Paramount. Right before Christmas 2025, Star Trek Strange New Worlds finished filming its 5th and final season. Star Trek fans won't be lacking for new episodes in 2026 and 2027, thankfully. Producing seasons of Star Trek Strange New Worlds and Star Trek Starfleet Academy so far ahead of time means that Paramount has plenty of episodes banked for the next 2 years. Even after Star Trek Starfleet Academy Season 1 ends on March 12th, there is still another 10-episode season to come. Star Trek Strange New Worlds also has a 10-episode Season 4 and a 6-episode Season 5 in the can and waiting to premiere. Between the 2 shows, Paramount has Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 4 coming later in 2026, and then Star Trek Starfleet Academy Season 2 and Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 5 in 2027. But what happens after that? With the lights of the massive Star Trek stage at Pinewood Studios Toronto shut off, this is now the first time in 9 years that there is no new Star Trek television in production. On the film side, there hasn't been a Star Trek movie produced for theatrical release in 10 years, despite several aborted attempts and the 2025 announcement of a new Star Trek movie from Paramount Pictures. Star Trek once again finds itself in a situation similar to where the franchise was in 2005. After Star Trek Enterprise was cancelled by UPN, Star Trek entered a 12-year dark age where there was no new Star Trek on television. This ended when Star Trek Discovery began filming in January 2017. Paramount Pictures and director J.J. Abrams rebooted the Star Trek movies in 2009, and 2 sequels followed in 2013 and 2016. All 3 movies were set in an alternate timeline unrelated to the TV canon. Instantly controversial from its September 2017 premiere onward, Star Trek Discovery was nonetheless a success that created a new Star Trek on Paramount franchise. 5 more series, Star Trek Picard, Star Trek Lower Decks, Star Trek Prodigy, Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Star Trek Starfleet Academy, and the made-for-streaming movie Star Trek Section 31 followed Discovery. Star Trek on Paramount Zenith was in 2022 when there was a new episode of Star Trek premiering every Thursday for almost the entire year. 2023 was Star Trek on Paramount's apex of popularity and critical acclaim with the Star Trek The Next Generation nostalgia-fueled final season of Star Trek Picard and the boldly ambitious Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 2, both enthusiastically received. When Skydance Media began the process of acquiring Paramount Global, Paramount began canceling its Star Trek series. By the end of 2024, Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek Lower Decks, and Star Trek Prodigy were all over. Star Trek Strange New Worlds and Star Trek Starfleet Academy received 2 season orders ahead of time, bringing us to where we are now under Paramount's guidance. As the remaining combined 26 episodes of Star Trek Strange New Worlds and Star Trek Starfleet Academy premiere on Paramount in the latter half of 2026, and in 2027 Paramount's guidance will decide the future of Star Trek. This could involve a new executive producer to replace Alex Kurtzman, whose secret hideout has overseen Star Trek on Paramount since 2016 and whose contract is reportedly up at the end of 2026. It's possible that Alex Kurtzman's contract could be renewed, allowing him to continue his successful tenure as Star Trek's executive producer. It's also possible that Kurtzman could walk away from Star Trek when his contract ends. Another potential scenario, even if Kurtzman is no longer Star Trek Caesar, is Star Trek Starfleet Academy receiving orders for seasons 3 and 4, allowing Alex to complete the cadet's 4-year college experience. Another potential scenario is the merging of Star Trek's TV and movie divisions for the first time in 20 years. Whether a new Star Trek executive producer is named or Alex Kurtzman remains, another potential scenario is the merging of Star Trek's TV and movie divisions for the first time in 20 years. In 2006, when Viacom CBS split, Star Trek's movie rights went to Paramount Pictures while Star Trek's TV rights fell to CBS. This is why no theatrical Star Trek movies have been made about TV characters since Rick Berman was Star Trek's executive producer. A new direction for Star Trek and a possible new executive producer could lead to a hiatus after Star Trek Strange New Worlds ends in 2027. Perhaps some time will be built in to buffer between Alex Kurtzman's era and what the next iteration of Star Trek will be. After all, production on new Star Trek will have to launch at some point in 2026 or 2027 to make a 2028 premiere on both the TV and movie sides. If no new Star Trek is announced and goes into production this year or next, then Star Trek will enter a new dark age for the first time since 2005, with fans waiting who knows how long to find out what's next for the final frontier. In 2005, however, when Star Trek Enterprise ceased production and aired its controversial series finale, Star Trek TV was over and no one was sure if and how it would come back. Paramount Skydance CEO David Ellison is a Star Trek fan who executive produced Star Trek Beyond. This time there is no doubt that Star Trek will continue. Paramount Skydance is well aware of Star Trek's immense value as IP. The challenge Star Trek continues to grapple with is how to grow the brand beyond its loyal but aging fan base, which was the mission of Star Trek Prodigy for young viewers and Star Trek Starfleet Academy for young adults. No new Star Trek is currently in production, but Paramount and Secret Hideout had the foresight to stockpile 2 seasons of its 2 remaining series. There will still be another season of Star Trek Starfleet Academy and 2 seasons, albeit only 16 episodes combined, of Star Trek Strange New Worlds on Paramount to watch as Paramount Skydance decides Star Trek's future. It's both a familiar and a strange new time for Star Trek, which has endured for 60 years and remains one of the greatest to Trekkers pop culture franchises. More than just the end of filming a season of television, Star Trek Starfleet Academy's Season 2 wrap could be the start of another significant point of upheaval for Gene Roddenberry's optimistic and beloved creation.